Hey friends, Jill here. I just made my lovely cup of coffee. I'm about to head down into the tunnel and start harvesting some peppers. There is so much produce down there. It's actually about to rain, and today's agenda was cleaning out the raised bed garden. We had started on it, but I was hoping to kind of finish it today, but I'm not sure I'm going to get to do that because it looks like it's going to rain, and that's actually pretty welcomed around here. Temperatures are starting to drop, which to me, it just means fall is coming. And it makes me really excited because it's been really hot here still. So if the rain's gonna bring the cooler temperatures, I'm all for it. So I'm gonna head out into the tunnel this morning and take you guys with me and check out what's going on out there. So it is actually sprinkling right now. It looks like it has rained, which means it was probably a bad idea that I left my boots outside. They are soaking wet. Lesson learned, I guess. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. What a goober. I knew it was supposed to rain too. Okay, you guys, feels amazing out here. Like so stinking good. I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready for fall. Oh, Ben Turn's little goats are yelling at me. All right, we're ready. So my project for this morning is, here are peppers and they go all the way down. Right now, because the peppers don't have any sort of structure, which usually you don't, you know, but these are just so big, they're protruding out. And then we've got these tomatoes that have gotten so big that they're falling off. I don't really have a way to get down there and access the plant. So my plan is to go through on the tomato plants that are dying, rip them out, and just give them space. They were planted, I don't know, if I had to guess, probably 18 inches apart. Usually you plant tomatoes 18 to 24 inches apart in a tunnel. I always kind of plant closer because you can, however, you are planting in a tunnel, and so it can just like, they can get big really fast, much faster than if you were growing your tomatoes outside in a raised bed or in ground outside. So I'm just going to go through and rip out the ones that are just dead or maybe have disease, and then I'm going to go through, and the ones that are left, if there's still quite a bit of them, just space them out quite a bit more. I do not want to rip all the tomatoes out because there are large green clusters of fruit on there, and I don't have my fall starts ready to plant in here yet, so I would rip that food up and then not have anything to immediately put in its place, which that doesn't really make sense, right? So why would I even do that? If you guys remember, I did come out here this summer and pruned and cleaned, and my goal was to already have the tunnel somewhat cleaned out before we moved in. That didn't happen. That didn't happen at all. But Jessica kind of planted the tunnel and then was like, hey, you know, we're really busy with moving, so that tunnel is yours. Whatever you want to do with it, but I'm going to be kind of hands off. And so that's why my friend Sean came in here. He planted the dahlias, he planted his ginger, like he took over a bed. It was my responsibility to take care of the beds behind me, and I'll be honest, just moving kicked my rear. Like I was not prepared for what all was involved. I didn't realize how much stuff we collected over the years, and so I just never got out here to do it. And now that I'm here, I'm gonna try to make it a priority because fall is coming, and although we are planting quite a bit out in the raised bed garden, I know there's just that added protection in the tunnel. We can roll the sides down, it's gonna retain heat better. It's just going to allow us to have that season extension, which we really want, which is why I love that we have this tunnel now. And so I'm just going to clean up a little walkway, and then we're going to see how many pounds of peppers we're going to harvest. I got to look at the tag and make sure that I don't mix the hot peppers with the mild or the sweet peppers, because I love peppers, but I'm not a fan of the hot peppers, and some of them will light you up because I accidentally ate one. And so I'm gonna like be kind of diligent on making sure I'm looking at what exactly she planted and keeping those separately so I don't accidentally feed my kids, you know, like the hottest jalapeno there ever was. But it is seriously the most glorious morning to do this. I can hear the rain hitting the tunnel, which is just, I don't know, I love it. It's like the perfect little fall morning starting to happen. There's a breeze, it feels amazing, so I can't wait to get to work. So many of you guys ask me, you always want to know what I'm doing with the food that I am harvesting. Now, y'all know, I'm not the cook in the family, so Nathan does most of our cooking. However, peppers are kind of my thing. So I can tell you guys some of the ways that I love to cook peppers and preserve peppers. So over here, she has the Sugar Rush Peach pepper. I actually started these peppers, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. You guys can see they usually don't get really big, but they taste really good. Put those in my bucket. So shishito peppers are really good for just blistering. Jessica has a really good recipe for the sauce that she makes. I'm not even really sure what it is. It has like mayo and apple cider vinegar and paprika, lemon juice. I've seriously tried to make this sauce and replicate it. I don't even know how many times, and I can never make it as good as she does. And so what she does is she will, with the shishito peppers, which I have done with different peppers like the Sugar Rush, and it's worked. You pretty much just take a knife and you slit around it, and then you throw it in a skillet. We use a cast iron skillet with some butter, and you just blister it. And then you dip it in this sauce and you eat it, and it's so good. So that's one way that we love to eat fresh peppers, especially with dinners. We eat them that way a lot. Wow, this smells so good. Wow. If you planted those, when it gets super hot right now, although most of the things are dying out in my zone, this is when the peppers are like, oh yeah, and so they start kicking into high gear, and they do really well. Jessica had peppers in this tunnel last year up until November, I believe. So that is why I'm definitely giving these attention. I am picking them so they'll keep reproducing, and so we will probably just be eating a lot of fresh peppers. So from the looks of it, she has planted all of her hot peppers up here to the front of the tunnel. So I'm assuming all the mild peppers and the sweet peppers are back here. It is so crazy to me how tall these pepper plants get in here. Granted, they're in raised beds, so there is that. These are pretty tall raised beds in here. But still, I mean, some of these peppers, look at it. Look at that, that's crazy. I hope this pepper is what I think it is. I'm trying to find the tag. Okay, so I found these peppers and I can't find a tag, but I think I know what they are because I've tried to grow these stinking peppers for, Lord, several seasons now. You guys know, I think I've mentioned in the past, I've had a hard time with peppers, and I really don't know why, but I have. I actually had a decent pepper harvest this year at our old farm. But I've tried to grow these little peppers right here, and Nathan always thought it was so silly because he was like, why would you want to try to grow that? They are so small, and they are like, I could be wrong, so nobody like hold me to this, but I want to say when I was researching it, it's like the tiniest pepper, like that. It is like the smallest pepper. All right, so I'm about to show you guys. Y'all see how incredibly tiny these are. Now, I cannot find a tag for them. I think they are I don't know. I'll put it in here what I think it is. It's AJI. If these seeds came from Baker Creek, I had these and it's the tiniest pepper. Which is strange because I think they're supposed to be, I think they're a hot pepper. I guess I could try it, but if it's hot, you guys, it's gonna light me up. Surely it won't be that much spice if it's just a tiny little pepper. Watch, it's probably like the hottest pepper. Whoa, holy cow. Whoa, that is a freaking hot pepper. So these are definitely a hot pepper. You guys saw the smallest bite I took. Whoa. Okay, I'm gonna have to go grab my coffee and wash that down. That has, I can tell you off of my experience, if you're wanting a really tiny pepper that holds a really powerful kick, this is the pepper for you. Whoa, that will light you up. Holy cow. All right, so it's good to know that there's still hot peppers. We haven't made it out of the hot pepper yet. I'll be honest, guys, I was not expecting that. So the sugar rushes, she did plant those with her hot ones, and they're sweet. They have like a smoky kind of taste, and when they have like that sweet hint, but they're not nearly as hot as that. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't just go around munching on jalapenos or anything, but I have tried a jalapeno. That little pepper right there ain't got nothing on it. Also, I will preference this because if Nathan Reagan watched this video, he would tell you all that I'm a total sissy when it comes to spice. So I'm gonna make him try it and get his reaction as well so we can see just how big of a baby I was. So they are just these little bitty green peppers. Look how small they are. And then when I mean, some of them are a little bit bigger, but then when they're ready, they just turn yellow, like this one, and literally they just pop right off. I will say though, I think that pepper would be amazing in curry because you wouldn't need very many of them. You literally could probably do like 2 or 3 of those, and they would do really well. So if you're used to like cooking with hot peppers and stuff, there are literally probably hundreds of those peppers on this plant right here. It really makes sense, which is very interesting to me because when I was thinking through, you know, Nathan was like, why would you grow a pepper that's so small? And I was like, yeah, that really makes sense. Like, you're not getting a whole lot out of that pepper. Yeah, and if you're just wanting it for like eating, that's probably not going to satisfy you, right? Because it's a really small pepper. But I would say if you're used to cooking a lot of things that have a lot of heat, a lot of spice, that is probably a really good pepper to choose just because it's going to produce such a large amount, and you only need, like, seriously, depending on how spicy you want it, a couple of those to do the job. So although that lit me up, I was so not expecting that. I knew it was a hot pepper, I just didn't realize it was like that hot. Yeah, this might be a good one to grow. So I'm gonna confirm the variety and I'll put it up in here, you guys, that way y'all can know the for sure one. I figured for a while I'd just be kind of going through and having you guys help me a lot on trying to figure out what she planted where. Some of the tags got lost, that's pretty expected. There's also another fun thing I really want your guys' help with. I am wanting to name the gardens. I just have this vision of like the chalkboard that's in the raised bed garden having written on there like what that garden is. So I'd like to name the raised bed garden. I'd like to name the cottage garden. I would like to name the tunnel something, and we're going to be zoning the farm, and we're going to have different zones based off of the workload that's required in that zone. I know that may be kind of confusing now, but it'll be a pretty organized system once we can get it down. And I'd love your input. I was in the garden last night ripping things up, and I was like, oh, I wish, you know, this could be called the whatever garden. And I had a few things come to mind, but I thought this would be really cool to get your guys' involvement in and your feedback, and I just think it would be really fun. You know, sometimes it's really nice to have that outsider's perspective, be like, oh yeah, when I think of you and your gardens, this is what I think of. And so I would love to know, vote what you think the raised bed garden, that's probably the first one I'm going to try and name and get a handle on. And so put them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Alright, so most of these don't have tags, so I'm trying to make my way to the other side of the tunnel because I know for a fact that she's got like the violet sparkle peppers that are really sweet. I just really don't want to like mix the hot and the sweet peppers just in case the kids go in there and start munching. June's the worst about just like rummaging through my harvesting buckets and eating, which typically I don't mind, but I don't want her to grab something that like lights her up, you know. So I'm gonna walk down here because I know we've got some sweet bells on this side. All right, so here we have a few different varieties I wanted to show you and tell you kind of what I do with them. So here are, whoops, dropping peppers. So here are the lilac bells. I actually started these, which is kind of cool because even though I'm in, you know, what was Jessica's garden, I started some of these things that I'm harvesting now, which is kind of a sweet story. So lilac bell tastes really, really good. It's a good sized bell pepper too. This would be really good for just like cooking up and eating, which is primarily what we do. Then she planted just a bunch of like your sweet banana peppers, and you can really kind of harvest these at any size. You can harvest them when they're bigger, you can harvest them when they're these small little size. And what I do with these is I make pepperoncinis, and I add all sorts of stuff to it. I will try and find the recipe that I have used for years and just link it down below. It's really, really easy to make. And so anytime that I have an abundance of peppers, Nathan is always asking for me to make him pepperoncinis, and so I do. And if you're in a place where you're like, oh man, I have a whole bunch of peppers I don't know what to do with, that is what I do. I actually even in the past have had an abundance of bell peppers, and so I just mixed the bell peppers and like my banana peppers and made pepperoncinis as well, and it tasted really good. Here you have your fish peppers. We actually did blistered fish peppers the other day, and we just harvested them when they were smaller. So I have a bunch of these on the counter. You guys can see too, this is that really pretty variegated fish pepper. The plant's variegated. I will definitely be growing these next year. They tasted really, really good, and honestly, they're just really pretty. they're just really pretty. It would be really cool if you could like get a variegated variety of like each thing I was growing. Wouldn't that be spectacular? So like the variegated tomatoes, that would be easy. Now I have a pepper. Oh yeah, I've seen the variegated dino kale, and I've never been able to get my hands on seeds, but that would be really cool too. This is a variety that I have never grown before. It was called the Glow Bell. So it looks like it's just kind of your standard bell pepper. The plant actually had broke, which is why I went ahead and harvested a bunch of these off. Never personally had them. I have found though with bell peppers, I usually always harvest them smaller than bigger. I don't know why, I've always just been that way. Usually because whatever we're cooking doesn't require like one full bell pepper. Like we're just wanting to add a pepper in with, you know, some other veggies. So it's okay, we'll still eat these. I don't personally think it makes that big of a difference if you're harvesting them when they're huge or small. But man, there is just so many peppers. There's so much food. It makes me feel so good. Even though the raised bed garden is dying, there's really nothing out there I can save or salvage because it's just the end of the season. It is sad, right? Like you're having to rip it all out, and then you're having to plant, and you're having to wait again. And so it's really fun coming in here and just seeing all these tomatoes still. Here's a tomato right here. There's literally just so much stinking food in this tunnel for days and days. A lot of you guys have suggested donating it to a food bank, and I did talk to my father-in-law, and he gave me connections to a local food bank. And so what we cannot eat, and this is way more than we could need right now too, just in being transitioned, still trying to unpack the house. I don't have any of my like canning supplies here yet or anything like that, so putting up an abundance of tomatoes, I just don't have the means to do that right now. And so we are going to be able to donate a lot of this to the food bank, which is really cool. So thank you guys for recommending that as well. So another pepper I really wanted to show you guys, and man, is it in abundance around here right now, and that is the Koribachi pepper. Now, I started these and I sold them all at the plant sale. I never actually planted any in my garden, but they're these long little peppers. The lighting in here is kind of bad. But they're these really long peppers. They are a sweet pepper, and I can tell you right now, this was just half of what came off of one plant. So they definitely produce really well. My friend Lauren over at Berkeley Farms has grown the Koribachi this year and said that it is just a super, super high producer. It tastes really good. It's got a sweet note to it. I think these would also taste really good as blistered peppers, or if you wanted to do like a huge, like a big jar, what are they, like the half-gallon jars of pepperoncinis, you could definitely do this and leave them whole. And so these are really cool too. I think Nathan's really gonna enjoy them. He's super excited about all the peppers because he just loves pepper, and he loves spice too, so he is going to be really happy with the hot peppers as well. as you guys can see, there's that whole middle half that I have not gotten to. However, speaking of my friend Lauren, she is headed over here now to help me finish cleaning out the raised bed garden. She has, so sweet. And so she and her husband are gonna head over here and help me. But I wanted to show you guys some of the peppers, some of the different varieties, some of the ways you can use them, some of the ways we use them. I can't wait just to get in this space more and show you guys more. So thanks so much for hanging out with me. I'll talk to you soon.